Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. It's monsoon season, I think, at the moment. It's absolutely torrential in Nottingham today. And it's one of those mornings when you wake up and you want to go to group, but you think, oh, do I really want to go out in this weather? Well, today I'm glad I did. I did wake up thinking, I don't really want to go to group, but for me there's no option, I need to be there. And I did also wake up thinking, don't want to vlog today. But I need to keep it honest, and I need to keep it real, and I need to be here for myself, just for myself. So I'm grateful if you've chosen to watch this, but I'm putting this vlog up primarily to motivate myself today. So my week has been okay. We've actually managed to get a couple of decent walks in this week because Joe's down to one crutch now, which makes it easier for us to get out together. So on a couple of days well, one day we walked about 3 miles, the next day we walked about 5 miles, and yesterday we did about 3 again. And I actually feel better for that. I realise that my mental health is better when I'm getting some exercise. I suppose that's all to do with endorphins and different things. Maybe just actually feeling like I'm achieving something helps. So that's been really beneficial to me this week. Right, I'm going to tell you what happened to me on Tuesday, and it's a bit of a strange subject, and I'm quite wondering why I want to put this out on the World Wide Web, but hey, I'll do it anyway. I used to have 2 dental crowns on my front teeth, because in our family we tend to have either a gap in our front teeth or they overlap, and mine used to overlap when I was younger, and I actually broke one of my front teeth some years ago, I'm talking 20 plus years ago, and had it crowned, and then eventually I chose to have my other front tooth crowned to make them kind of equal. Well, one of the crowns was forever popping off. I don't know if anybody else has ever had this problem with crowns, but I could just be singing in church and my front tooth would pop off, and after a while it got really frustrating. So I decided to have a small dental plate made privately, and I've got 2 teeth, one at the front, one at the back, on a small dental plate. Now the reason I'm telling you this is because on Tuesday I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. I was eating a Haagen-Dazs ice cream lolly with peanuts in it, and thoroughly enjoying it. Made the choice to do it even though it was a bad thing to do that day because I was obsessing about chocolate, and took a mouthful of the ice cream, bit down on a very hard peanut, and totally shattered my dental plate, which was like really annoying because it's an expensive thing to do, but more so than that, it meant a couple of days without it, so I looked like an old hag, if you can imagine me without one of my front teeth. And it also makes it very difficult to eat in that situation, but that isn't a problem if I stay on plan. It's only a problem if I'm going to be crunching on nuts and things like that in excess and eating chocolate and stuff, because I'm a muncher on chocolate. I'm not somebody who sucks on chocolate and really savours it. I'm very much a muncher, and I like chocolate with hard things in it like nuts. So did that on Tuesday and was without it until Thursday, which was a bit of a what Joe would call a ball ache, and very uncomfortable, but fortunately got the problem resolved, paid the bill, and really grateful to my dentist. But it kind of threw me into a I feel sorry for myself mood. Do you know, can you relate to that? Just when it's when something insignificant happens, but it feels like the end of the world, and then I end up feeling sorry for myself. It's like there's never a good time for silly little things like that to happen, but I can let it become a much, much bigger issue than it is. So if I had been on track properly in the first place, if I had been on plan properly in the first place, I would have just dealt with it. And when I am on track and on plan and living this lifestyle, things like that aren't a really big issue. It's only when I allow them to be. And again, I'm using that phrase, on plan. And you'll hear that a lot from me, because I am either going to be on plan or I'm going to be off plan. And I'll always tell you which of those 2 states I'm in. So my meals were 100% on plan. Again, I eat the food I love. It's not a problem. I enjoy my meals. It's the incidentals and the add-ons, and they're the things that for me are dangerous. And my head was in chocolate mode again this week. And one of the things I said to Joe this morning was, you know, I've really got to focus on the fact that this is Slimming world, not Cadbury's world. And it's Cadbury's chocolate that is my big downfall. 3 new bars out, I think this week or whatever, and I just can't resist it, and I have to. I don't have a choice. If I want to stay at a decent weight, feeling lean, feeling healthy, feeling good about myself, I have to be able to resist things like that, because it's the start of a slippery slope and it's very damaging to me. And nobody other than me can actually make me do this. You know, it's nobody's responsibility but my own. And this week, on 3 occasions, again, I made bad choices. Now, if I could just say, well, I fancy a bit of chocolate, I'll have a Freddo, 5 sins. Well, I fancy a bit of chocolate, I'll have a crunchy, 6 sins. But I don't do that. I'm one of those greedy guts who goes, well, I fancy a bit of chocolate, stands in the chocolate aisle and comes out with 3, 4, 5 bars of chocolate. And I know I'm like that, and I know I need to address it, and I know I need to change it. And for a long, long time, when I was first at Target 3.5 years ago, up until quite recently, I've been dealing with it. And I don't know why, I've just let it creep back in. It's nobody's responsibility but mine. Nobody makes the choices but me. And this week I've made some bad choices again. And I need to kick my arse into gear. So, that's where I was at this week again with chocolate. It is my drug of choice. When somebody invents a calorie-free chocolate, I would be the happiest woman in the world, but I don't foresee that that is ever really going to happen. And as I say, 1 Freddo's never enough. 1 square's not enough, 1 Freddo's not enough. It's always got to be massively to excess. And if I've got to actually overcome that by going back to my get my tin of sardines out, the next time you plan to eat chocolate, you've got to eat this first, you know? Or just to say to myself, for God's sake, Jane, grow up. You know, the world is not going to come to an end if you don't eat 5 bars of chocolate today. Because those 5 bars of chocolate then lead to me saying, oh, we've got some shortbreads with chocolate in, I'll have some of that. Oh, Joe's got some red velvet cake, I'll have some of that. Oh, there's some jam and cream scones, I'll have one of those. I don't know when to stop once I've started. So I think the solution to my problem is stop starting, Jane. So this week, my intention is to stop starting and to just carry on doing the plan as it is written. And that's what I need to do for me. I know I'm forecasting into the future, and I don't like this when people say to me, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. I'm much more of a, let me come on here on Saturday and tell you what I've done. So although I'm standing here and I'm saying this is what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is stick to plan, which is what I was doing, which is what got me to Target, and which was what was keeping me at Target. I'm going to stick to plan. I'm not going to say every day this week I'm going to have 5 sins, 10 sins, 15 sins. What I'm going to say is I'll come back next Saturday and I'll tell you honestly what I did to get the result I got. Just like, I'm doing a lot of this today, aren't I? Just like today, I'm standing in front of you telling you what I've done this week, which got me the results I got. That's what I'm about. So I don't want to be forecasting into the future and telling you, you know, I'm going to run a marathon this week, I'm going to do 15 exercise classes this week, I'm going to walk 5 miles every day, and I'm going to do star jumps. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is I'll be back next Saturday and I'll tell you what I've done over the week to get the results I get next Saturday. I'm telling you today what I've done this week to get the results I've got this week. Now, one of the issues that came up, is that the right word? Something that came up this week was one of my best friends. I've got a group of really, really good friends, and it was one of my friends' birthdays yesterday. So on Thursday night, I got a text inviting me out to dinner last night. My first reaction before, it wasn't Thursday night, I'm telling a lie. It was Wednesday night I got the text. I didn't answer it straight away. I thought, I need to think about this. Why did I need to think about it? One of my really good friends was inviting me out to dinner. Why didn't I just say, yes, please? I thought about it because my head was going, Friday night's the night before weigh-in, you shouldn't be eating a big meal, you should be careful. I'm never careful what I eat the day before weigh-in when I'm on plan. I just follow plan. I don't skip meals, I don't limit liquids, I don't do anything other than just have a normal day. Because in my early days on Slimming World, I was always like, oh, day for a wean, I mustn't eat, I must miss my lunch, I must not have this, I must not have that. I left all that way behind because that wasn't living. I made a video ages ago about wasting 1 day a week, you know, and that becomes wasting 52 days a year. So every day of my week is the same food-wise. I eat on plan when I am on plan. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't say, I'm getting weighed tomorrow, I must restrict what I eat today. So the following morning, which would have been Thursday morning, I texted my friend back and I said, yeah, I'd love to come out for a meal with you to celebrate your birthday. So consequently, we went out last night and my friend's 12-year-old daughter chose where we would go, and we went to Carluccio's. Now, she knows I really like Carluccio's, so bless the girl, that's probably why she chose Carluccio's. I don't know how many of you eat in Carluccio's regularly, but if you're on plan, strictly on plan, it's not the best place to eat. I love the food in there, I love the ambience, I love the music they play, the waiters are also friendly. The whole setup is my kind of place, a bit bistro-ish and whatever. Not too traditional, lots of choice, but very little choice if you want to be 100% on plan, and if you're like me and you don't want a salad. There's no way I'm going to go out for dinner and I'm going to choose to have a salad. There's no way I'm going to go out for dinner and I'm going to choose to have jacket potato. I can have a jacket potato at home, you know, any day of the week at any meal. I'm not going to go in, I don't know if Carluccio's even do jacket potatoes, I doubt it, but I'm not going to go into any restaurant and pay good money for something as boring as a jacket potato. If you love jacket potatoes, and sorry if that offends you, I don't. I like them, they're a nice part of a meal, but they're not special when you go out. And if I'm going out to celebrate a birthday and have a good night, I'm not going to be eating a jacket potato or a salad. So I went to Carluccio's last night, chose to have garlic focaccia as a starter with lemon olive oil to dip it in. That's a new olive oil they're doing and it's gorgeous. For my main course I had the wild mushroom risotto, which I often fall back on because I love it. And I think to myself, well, mushrooms are good on plan, the other veggies in there, it's rice, whatever. But it's also in a lovely creamy sauce, it's also topped with truffle oil, and I have shavings of parmesan and plenty of them. But it's one meal out of my week, and if I was on plan, it wouldn't be a problem. We don't usually have dessert, but we do drink plenty of Bellinis. And last night, because it was my friend's birthday, she didn't have a birthday cake this year, so we chose to have a dessert. And I ordered tiramisu, which is my absolute favourite. Sorry I'm talking about food if it bothers you, but I'm just telling my story. I ordered tiramisu, which is my absolute favourite meal. Now, often you'll go into an Italian restaurant, you order tiramisu, and they're quite tiny. Believe me, the one at Carluccio's isn't. It's the first time I've ordered it there for years, and it was big. But it was absolutely delicious. So I came home last night. Joe thought I was a bit tipsy, but I'm not sure I was. But I came home last night thinking, I've really, really enjoyed my meal out. I've really enjoyed the company. We had a good laugh. We had, you know, it was just so pleasant. But oh my God, was I full. Now, I went out in size 10 trousers. By the end of the meal, I could hardly breathe. It's not a good idea. Or is it? Does it make me limit myself a bit? I don't know. But I didn't come home feeling guilty for having a meal out. But I also didn't go to group this morning and use it as an excuse for having a gain. I could have stood on the scales, I could have got the gain I got, and I could have said, that's because I had a meal late last night. That's rubbish. It's not about what I do at one meal. There are 22 other meals in the week for me. I could have balanced that out if I hadn't been pigging out on chocolate during the week. I did also have a bag of crisps again this week, which is idiocy. I don't know why I'm going back down that route. Anyway, so that was it. But the thing that came out of the meal invitation and everything was very much me thinking about, if I was on a diet, like the old days of dieting, I would have refused a meal out because, oh, I've got to be strict, got to stick to my diet. The beauty of Slimming World is I don't need to do that, because one meal out of my week is not going to cause me to gain, generally. It might bring about a maintain, but it's about living the life, and it is about living the lifestyle. So I had a fabulous night out, but did I make the best choices? I'm not 100% sure I did. I'm not 100% sure I needed the tiramisu. Usually everybody else is having a dessert, I'll order a coffee. So my habits are slipping backwards into some of my old habits. I need to pull myself up on that. I cannot be going out for dinner and eating big desserts if I want to keep my weight down. And at one time, it would have been a no-brainer. I wouldn't have even considered having a dessert. I would have just, my friends are used to me now, I would have just ordered a coffee. Why didn't I just order a coffee last night? Because I knew I'd been eating chocolate all week, because I knew I was on for a gain, because I was making the bloody most of it. Not the right way to go for me. Right. What's my next heading? Is it aubergine?
Yeah.
One of the things we've been eating this week and thoroughly enjoying is Joe's version of ratatouille. Now, when I make a ratatouille, I would usually start off with olive oil, and I would start off, please excuse me, I need to eat. I would start off with olive oil, and I would start off by sautéing the veg. And Joe just went, leave it to me, I'll make it. And we don't do a lot of onion, do we, Joe? Neither of us.
I don't like onion.
Joe doesn't really like onion. And the fault with a lot of the Slimming World recipes for us is that most of them start with sauté your onions and garlic or whatever. And Joe just doesn't like onion. So he made a ratatouille with 2 aubergines, 4 courgettes, 2 peppers. And then we made the tomato sauce with, well, first of all, we used the Sainsbury's bottled tomato, don't we? That was good. We used chopped tomatoes with herbs. And oh my goodness, it was absolutely delicious. He made it earlier in the week, then he made it again later in the week. And it just made me think, you know, I am getting a bit boring with my veg. I used to eat such a plethora or such a variety of vegetables. And I think of late, I've been falling back on my favourite veg, which is kind of sugar snap peas and cauliflower. I could eat cauliflower because it comes out my ears. But I haven't been using the wide variety of vegetables that I used to use. So that was something this week that, again, it's resonated with me that I need to be adding more variety into my plan. It's not enough just for me to just say, well, I'll have speed, so give me a dollop of, you know, mixed frozen veg or something. I need to be a bit more purposeful and buy the veg I used to buy and I used to enjoy. So grateful to Joe for making that ratatouille. What we did to serve it one day, Joe had cooked some of the Slimming World pork sausages, the plain ones, and then thinly sliced them so they were like little rings of sausage. Like you can do that if you're ever doing some sort of pizza dish and thinly slice them and add them onto a pizza because it gives texture. But he stirred it into the ratatouille when he served it. It was nice, wasn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, it went really well. And then the second time I had it, topped it with grated goat's cheese, which was really, really nice. Very, well, for a day like today when it's wet and cold and miserable, very satisfying. But I also think on a summer's day, ratatouille is a nice dish because I like it cold. You can treat it like a salad and have it cold. And I don't do salad that's kind of lettuce, tomato and cucumber. That's diet food, and that takes me back to the mentality I used to have all the years I was on a diet. So I try to avoid that. But yeah, I think ratatouille is going to become one of our staples. Next heading, Mr. Joe?
Oh, what do I do when you get off plan? And you're near 20 minutes.
Sorry, I was flicking through some of my comments from last week and I haven't answered any of them. I said I wouldn't, but flicking through one, and Kirsty from Oman, hi Kirsty, said something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing, what does Joe do when you're in this sort of frame of mind and you're eating and buying chocolate and buying stuff you shouldn't or whatever? Joe doesn't do anything. For the simple reason, Joe knows he's wise not to, because if Joe started to say, Mum, you shouldn't be getting that, Mum, you shouldn't be buying this, Mum, it sends me the other way. I'm hopeless at being told what to do. If somebody starts judging me and telling me what to do, my mind goes, sod you, I'm a rebel, I'm going to do whatever I want. So Joe doesn't say anything. Joe allows me the right to choose what I eat and kind of minds his own business. Because when I'm in that frame of mind and I am determined I'm going to buy Cadbury's chocolate or cream scones or whatever, the British Army couldn't stop me, because I've got a very strong will. No willpower, but a very strong will. To do the plan, I don't depend on willpower, I depend on food choices, and that's what I need to focus on going back to doing. So is it results and group?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I went to group this morning, not knowing what to expect, but knowing I needed to stay because image therapy in our group is second to none. And I went in and I got introduced to a lady who'd come and joined, and we sat chatting and everything. And when it came to time for group to start, Naomi went up to the front and, well, we sit in a big circle. She went up to her place in the group and she said, I am today going to do a new beginner's talk for everybody. Now, we don't usually do that this time of year, it's usually the start of the year. But she actually acknowledged how difficult it is in the summer when you've got all your barbecues and your invitations and your weddings and whatever to deal with. It can be quite a hard time of year to stick to plan. And she took us right through the plan in its totality, from the new plan, from the new books, covering everything. And a couple of things that spoke to me this morning. One of the things in group is she's continually saying, for women it's 5 to 15 sins, for men it's 5 to 25 sins. Okay, we hear that regularly, don't we? One of the chaps in our group actually said, can I ask a question? Do you have to eat your sins? Now, I've always banged on about 5 to 15. Pardon me, don't go below 5. And I do believe that. I do believe for me that's right. But Naomi said turn to page 45 in the book, and in there it says if you don't want to use the sins, you don't have to use the sins. But then we got on to talking about knocking out all your sins can leave you in a situation where you feel deprived, and that's when you're going to fall off plan. That's me. But I asked a question in group this morning, and I said, why do Slimming World give us all these recommendations and then contradict them? You've just stood there and said 5 to 15 for a woman, 5 to 25 for a man, but then on page 45 it says if you don't want them, you don't have to have them. Why don't Slimming World get with the programme and say 0 to 15 for a woman, 0 to 25 for a man? Naomi said she'd take that to head office when she's next there. Because there are so many, when you've been doing this a long time and you actually study the plan, there are so many contradictions. Now, for me, I know going below 5 sins is a no-no, because that's when I'm dropping into diet mentality, and I think that's why they do it that way. I really believe that. But what is the right way to go? Now, it also says in the book, for optimum weight loss, don't exceed 10 sins. And I think because I've been around this plan such a long time, I forget things like that. Maybe I need to get my CDs out and have another listen. But for optimum weight loss, don't exceed 10. I've always said, I think you're better to keep a few in the bank if you can, for the simple reason it's easy to overlook sins. Like we were talking in group last week about the John West mackerel and about the fact that they're spicy ones. There's a couple of them, one in tomato sauce and another one, chili maybe. But they used to be free, and now they're 1.5 and 2.5 sins. If you haven't seen that and you eat those regularly, you could exceed your sins without intending to. Keep 1 or 2 in the bank, you've got a safety net. So, what happened to me today? Went into group in the pouring rain, keep harping on about it. I actually like rain, but not on group days. Went into group, jokingly said to Kelvin, I'll be back to pay in a minute, because I had my grace week last week because I was out of target. Went and got weighed and gained another 2 pounds. Now, again, I'm going to say that is not the weight gain I deserved. I deserved a lot more. I don't know. I think what's saving me at the moment is that my meals are on plan. It's only the junk I'm eating that I shouldn't be eating that's pushing my weight up gradually. Because 2 pound weight gain for me is not a big weight gain. I'm much more of a I can gain 5 to 10 pounds in a week if I let myself go. So a 2 pound weight gain is not a big weight gain, but I was already 1.5 pounds over target. I'm now 3.5 pounds over target. That is not the best place to be. And it really pees me off with myself. You know, I've come back from group today and I'm like, Jane, what are you playing at? £2 a week, it would only take me 2 years to get back up to 22 stone. And is chocolate worth it? I want to say no, it's not. But you know, when I want it in my hand and then shoving it in my mouth, it feels like it is. But yeah, that's where I'm at this week. I didn't want to go to group, I didn't want to vlog, but I'm here and I'm being honest. £2 weight gain is nothing to be ashamed of. But £2 every week, how long could I stand that? I'm standing in front of you today and I've just had to put a pair of size 12 jeans on because the pair of size 10 jeans that I had on yesterday are too tight today. That's not the best place to be. I know that. I know it in my heart of hearts. I know it in my head. I just need to put it into practice and stop talking the talk and start walking the walk. And I'm back to saying it works if you work it. Because I'm living proof that if you don't, it doesn't. And I think I need to bring that back, and I need to keep reminding myself over and over and over again. You know, if you want to be slim, you've got to get with the plan, Jane. So back to Project Jane, back to actually being on plan and stop playing at it and stop making up my own version of it. And I'll be back next week and we'll see where a week on plan takes me. And yeah, I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad I found Slimming World, because if I hadn't found Slimming World, I don't think I would be alive today. Not the way I was going. So thank you for being there. Thanks for your comments, and we'll see you next Saturday. Cheers.